This is a Mortarbox Media podcast. For more podcasts and to learn how we can help you create your own, visit mortarboxmedia.com.
Welcome to Women AF, a podcast hosted by us. I'm Nicole, and we got with my co-host Danny.
Hello.
And Carrie.
Hello.
That was fun. I love that. Oh, I thought I was over this. I'm not. That's okay. Oh well. Hi guys.
Hey Nicole.
Hello.
How are you doing this week?
Great. Just great.
I don't feel convinced by that.
I don't either. Oh no.
It's really been a long week, honestly.
It's been a long year, I feel like.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Week to week, who can tell what's what? I don't even know what month we're in half the time.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Any updates for you guys?
I just started my Christmas vacation. I am taking off a week and the Friday and then the Monday. So it's like a week plus the weekend before and after and the day. So
Okay.
It feels really long. I mean, in a good way.
Yeah.
But our daycare is closing for the holidays. They close for 3 weeks.
Oh,
That's a long close.
it's like a month.
It is. However, she doesn't take any vacation time throughout the entire year. So at least this makes sense because this is also time we would typically be taking off anyway. So it's easier to coordinate. For
Okay.
sure.
That makes sense. I get that.
Sorry.
What is that? Is there a horror movie happening in your house? What is going on?
Like it.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this house. There's just... the door was knocking around wildly for a long time. I don't know. I don't know if someone's at the door. I don't know if they're...
By itself? Do you have ghosts?
Oh, cripes. Probably. That would be fitting.
Oh no.
You didn't get a ghost in your house until 2020.
That would be perfect.
Just to end it all. That's how you end it.
Sorry, I don't know what that was, and I didn't know what to do, so...
So you just sat there waiting for the serial killer to break down.
Yes, that was basically what was happening. Super wrong. I'm just going to sit still.
Okay, speaking of, not to change the subject, but I re-listened to our first episode, and I remember Nicole's quote about she'd rather be chased by serial killers than zombies, and I laughed so hard. And that is exactly that moment.
I listened to that too, and I was like, oh man, that is the wrong choice. Like, I still am like, no, Nicole.
You're still zombie?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Both of you.
Especially if they are Walking Dead zombies and not like, what is it? The one that Brad Pitt was in?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then in that case, it doesn't, forget
Yeah,
it.
because they're
I Am
fast and
Legend.
they'll just, right, exactly. So now, if
Yeah.
they're slow zombies, 100% zombies. If they're fast zombies, definitely not, because then maybe you have like your athletic ability against the serial killer, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
But a serial killer, I'm still standing to it. You can sometimes rationalize with them. Whereas zombie, like, that's out the door. It's basically you run fast and hope that you get out of their way.
But I feel like trying to rationalize with a serial killer, you're assuming that their logic is the same as your logic and they're not a sociopath or psychopath.
It's like,
I want to know, has there ever...
done. Yep.
Has there ever been an incident? Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you're wrong, but
I feel like
provide proof.
I could search for it.
Okay.
I do know it was like a religious type situation where like she brought him to Jesus. But the thing is, like, when he went to prison, he like confessed all his crimes. He went to prison. Look it up. I'll have to find it. I'll find it. But
you can see the doubt on my face, I take it.
But it also, like, and then he went to the extreme, like, instead of just becoming a believer, like, he thought he was Jesus Christ, and he was like, oh, I am the savior, and, like, he went full on batshit crazy, but that makes sense because he was already
batshit crazy. He just kind of went the other direction.
Right. But I think he like carjacked her and was going to kill her. And then she talked with him and like talked for him for 3 hours in the car. I'll find it, guys.
Okay, but the chances that's going to go that direction are so small.
It is, but I mean,
do you want to hear good safety tricks?
Yeah, okay, about zombies? Or
no,
killers?
Not zombies. I suppose it's any situation where you feel in danger of that person that's approaching you, whatever that looks like. Okay. So the first one is, make them think you're crazy. True story. A good friend of mine's older sister was walking by herself and she was approached by this guy who, it was a long time ago I heard the story, so I don't know the specifics. But she knew that this guy had bad intentions, so she started talking to the friend that was walking with her, except for she wasn't walking with anybody. So she was like talking to a fake person. Just started being like, oh, let me introduce you to my friend and blah, blah, blah. And like this guy was like, oh, this chick's crazy. And he left. The other thing you can do is pee your pants or vomit. Because most people will be so grossed out about it, they'll leave you alone.
I don't think I can vomit on demand.
Oh,
but you could pee your pants.
I could probably poop my pants on demand.
That's better. There you go.
Level better. Even better.
I used to go on walks or runs at night around the lake back in college, and I would go with my friends, and we were two, college age girls running around the lake, idiots, at dark. And it got to a point where we got mid lake, I guess, and we heard some rustles, and we're like, "Oh, this is where we die. This is it." So we started talking about how our dads were police officers, we're like chief police officers, how we did so many defense arts or defense classes, and like we just started talking a bunch of shit like that. And nothing happened. Now, I'm not saying that prevented anything. I'm just saying that helped ease my own mind.
Nice.
Yeah,
because it was probably a squirrel.
It was probably a bunny. Yeah. Let's be honest.
And that bunny was really intimidated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, dear. Yeah, I reminisced on our first episode, and it was fun to see how far we've come.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be because I was real scared going into it. I was like, oh, this is going to be so terrible. And it wasn't bad.
It really wasn't that terrible.
There you go.
I guess we're just naturals.
Right?
We're just really great at this.
Oh, dear. Well, I think that's a good segue because our topic today is we're going to talk about basically 2020 and what the hell just happened. So during our podcast, we've kind of chronicalized all of this, and we're going to take a little bit of a break, but then we'll talk about the topic.
Did you know you can do good and save money when you shop for groceries? That's why I was so excited to sign up for Thrive Market. They have a one-to-one giving program, meaning for every person that signs up for a membership, they give a membership to a low-income family, student, teacher, veteran, or first responder. They also donate every dollar collected to the shopping budgets of Thrive Gives members, disaster relief efforts, food access, and veteran aid programs, and a range of fully vetted partner organizations that align with their mission, which is for everyone to have access to healthy products regardless of their income. They focus on sustainability, ethically sourced goods, and keeping products as close to nature as possible. If all that wasn't enough reason to sign up, they also have a savings guarantee. They guarantee your annual membership will pay for itself in savings, or they will automatically credit you the difference at the time of renewal. I know I've already doubled in savings the cost of my annual membership, and for products I would be buying at a higher price at my local grocery store. Do good and save money by signing up for a Thrive Market membership today. Today, if you sign up for a 1-year or 1-month membership, you can choose a free gift up to a $22 value. Go to womenafpodcast.com and click on sponsors to get your free gift and try out Thrive Market today.
So, 2020, what the hell? I feel like we all need to take like a collective break that we're almost done with this year. Like,
Ooh.
So I want to take a little bit of time since, we did start this podcast right on the gates, 2020. We started this off. I want to talk about, what did you guys think? What did you guys learn from this 2020 year? What did you guys think? If you had to encapsulate words? I don't know words. If you had to use one word to describe this year, what would it be?
Ooh. If I had known we were going to be quizzed, I would have prepared better.
How about I'll go first and then you guys can say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I will say my one word would be furlough. Mainly because I was furloughed, but also I feel like there's that whole level of stress. Even if you weren't furloughed, you felt that stress of possibly being furloughed, possibly being let go. Like that whole employment, jobs was scary. So that would be my word. Is that
well,
time?
When you said it, my immediate thought was kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just being home with the kids a lot. Which, it's weird. They're your kids. You don't realize how much you're not really with your own kids.
Yeah.
In normal life, But man, just being home with the kids, and that entailed a lot of things, good and bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say prioritization.
Ooh.
Kind of for both. It encapsulates both good and bad. Prioritization in that, you can't see everybody. So you have to prioritize who's in your bubble. When you're on furlough, you have to prioritize what you're doing with your money. When you're health-wise, you have to, it's like so many things are changing in your day-to-day life. You have to prioritize how can you continue to stay healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, when all your routines suddenly change. You know what I mean? So in prioritizing also what's important, because I think a big thing for me has been there's a lot that happened this year that I could let stress me out to the max if I let myself get stressed about it. So there's been a lot of things that I've just had to be okay, I'm just going to let that go. I'm not going to stress about that because it's completely out of my control. Furlough or not being able to visit family or whatever. It's I don't have any control about that, and it sucks. It's not great, but I'm just going to not put that as a mental priority. I'm just going to let that go.
I do agree with that. I think that's a great one of, especially learning your priorities with people. Let's say you went to the office or you talked with people one-on-one a lot. When you now are working from home, or, you don't spend as much time with certain people, you have to prioritize your time with them and prioritize, are you going to do a virtual thing? Are you going to go in the parking lot with somebody and eat a car distance away just to spend time with them? How to keep up those relationships when it was tough to. Let's go back. So when we first started 2020, right, we had high hopes. We bought our planners. We were super excited about life. Did you guys have any fun goals or big things you really wanted to accomplish this year?
I don't know about things I wanted to accomplish, but I definitely was of the mindset, and it is so stereotypical of 2020 is my year. It's gonna be my year. I was all into it because when we started 2020, we were just starting this podcast, which was super fun. And I was just starting a new job. So it was just all these kind of new, fresh things were going on.
Yeah.
And I really was yes, this is where things are happening and my life is changing. So it's weird that I definitely don't feel 2020 was my year. It wasn't Didn't turn out that way exactly. You know, it wasn't not my year, but I was real enthusiastic.
I don't necessarily approach New Year's in the same way. Like I don't know. I feel like grouping things into a year is kind of arbitrary in the sense that I look at it in the same way as you look at like maybe eating healthy. Like there's one attitude where it's like, oh, if I didn't have a healthy breakfast, then it's like, fuck it, I can eat whatever I want all day because my whole day is shot, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of people approach this year like, oh, first half of the year sucks, so fuck it, we're just gonna roll with it, the whole year is gonna be shit. And personally, I just feel like that's a really bad attitude. In the sense I feel like it's unhealthy. There's a guy that wrote a book called No Bad Days. And I heard him speak once, and I feel like it totally changed my attitude on everything. Basically, he got into a terrible accident. He should have died. He didn't die. Like, there was an insane recovery period. Like, what he went through was just outrageous. And a lot of people, I think, would have given up. But for him, it kind of gave him a new lease on life. And he kind of just took the attitude that it's like, we can only take things moment by moment. And Carrie has also said this a lot to me before about taking things moment by moment.
Me?
Yes, you.
Look at you, fancy. Whoa.
And
Okay.
I feel like that's kind of how I took the year. Like, you know, some days were more challenging than others, for sure. Some events were way more challenging than others. But I just wanted to take the attitude that I wanted to isolate those incidents and I refused to let them impact the whole year, the whole day, the whole week, the whole month, whatever, right? Like, okay, I'm having a rough day. Yeah. That's fine. We're going to go with it. We're going to get through today, whatever. But I'm not going to take the attitude that the events that are happening that are frustrating me are going to impact me outside of this moment, you know? Does that make sense? So, like, in terms of 2020, like, we had plans going into it, right? We were going to do this big friends trip. It was going to be great. We were going to see Daniel's family, and that was going to be great. And none of those things ended up happening. We were going to do this weekend vacation, Daniel and I. It was going to be like this goal planning thing. And the weekend we were going to go was literally the weekend after Safer at Home happened. So that didn't happen. You know what I mean? There was definitely a lot of things that got canceled. That was really upsetting and disappointing. We cried over whatever. Mm-hmm. But I just tried to keep that isolated to that event. Like, yes, it super sucks that this isn't going to happen. But let's see how we can make the best of it, kind of a thing. I guess that's
a great attitude to go into it. That's really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
I
try. It's taken a lot of therapy to get there, okay?
Well, there you go. That's amazing. I feel like you fared better than, like, for me, I remember exactly when it was March 13th, Friday the 13th, when we got the, like, we're going to stay at home for 2 weeks. And we got the notice on our phone of, like, yeah, just 2 weeks. And we got the notice of our phone, like, don't walk out your doors or you could be infected and all this, like, scary stuff of, you know, ugh. And I feel like time stopped then for me, where, like, I wasn't able to see people. My job was different. Dealing with my kids and dealing with, like, how to explain this to my kids, how to explain, you know, germs, how to explain that we're never going into a store for the foreseeable future kind of thing. Like, I feel like we're in a holding pattern. But you're right. Like, good things came out of it. I feel like we're closer to our kids. I know priority-wise, like, we're trying our best to, if it's a priority, we're going to make it a priority, and making sure that our priorities are in line. That was a lot of words, priorities in one sentence, but there we go. Do you guys remember, what was your first reaction? Because I know in the beginning it was like, yeah, just 2 weeks. Did you guys believe that? Like I did?
I think I did, like a dummy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember being like, this isn't that big of a deal. It's like the flu. It's like,
Yeah.
it'll,
Yeah.
you'll get it. You'll get over it. Like, whatever. It's not that serious.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
I think my opinion of it started changing when all this stuff went down with Italy. I mean, we weren't that much further behind, but when Italy like shut down, I mean, maybe there was other countries that it happened to before that, but I just remember like hearing that, and considering we had just taken a vacation to Italy like the year before or 2 years before or something. I don't know. I mean, it's just like when I can imagine a place because I've been there, it makes it feel more real versus like places I've never visited. Like I obviously know they're real, but it's just I can't imagine them in the same way. So it's like in that moment I was like, what? Italy shut down? Holy cow, that's serious, you know?
Yeah.
Like a whole country shut down? What is happening?
Yep. I remember what I think is funny thinking about, I was that kind of idiot where I was like, yeah, it's only going to be 2 weeks. That's it. Like, and then we're going to be fine. We're going to go back to normal. And now when we're like, oh, you know, finally the vaccine is here, it's going to be about like 6 months until it's back to normal, and thinking like 6 months, we got this. Like we've already been in this for 9 months. Like what's another 6 months? It's fine. Like it's so funny to look at those two side by side being like, who was I in the beginning?
And I'm also like, oh, we'll see. Well, they're saying 6 months. We'll see. It might be longer than that. I'm very much like, it's a totally different attitude now because I'm like, I mean, it'll eventually be over, but I don't, it's almost like I've heard so many different dates. It's like, have you ever looked at the Wikipedia, like, end of the world page? Like, they keep a record of every time anyone's ever predicted the end of the world, and, like, it's long. And it's so funny. Like, because it goes back, like, thousands of years, right? Like, every, I don't know, 100 years, 50 years, whatever it is, someone will predict it. That's kind of what it feels like to me, you know? Like, well, sure, everything will open.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, my company set several dates as we kept going. You know, at first it was 2 weeks, and then like, no, we're going to make it, you know, this date, we're coming back. And then they were like, you know what, actually, we're going to make it this date, until they were just like, I don't know. We don't know. We're not going to set a date anymore. Like, you just sort of, you're like, okay, I guess we're just in this for the long haul, and we're going to not have any expectations, and that's definitely for me a better way to do this.
Right?
Let's just settle in and hunker down, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Our company just had a meeting where they're basically like, we're pushing it back until March that we want you to stay at home, but then we'll reassess again. Obviously, I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be back in March. But then they were like talking about, yeah, eventually we're going to all come back to the office. We'll give you 30 days notice, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Like, I hate to break it to you, but like people have moved. People have like changed their daycare situation.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get people who like literally changed everything about their life to be a year working from home to suddenly be like, yeah, cool. No problem.
Just pop back in. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just don't know if for better or for worse, it'll ever be exactly the same. Like, it's going to be different in some ways because people have gotten used to a new normal.
Yeah.
And I think expecting people to go back to the old normal just really isn't likely to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about like the things that, one of the things I miss the most is like concerts or like live podcasts or, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shows. And how is anyone ever going to feel comfortable to like get in a giant group like that and sit so close together again? Like, how long is that going to take for that to be okay?
Do you remember our tickets for our live concert or live podcast we were going to go to last?
Yeah.
It was March, right? Or was it May? When were we going to go?
April? I think.
It was April. Yeah.
theoretically, we still have those tickets. they just keep pushing it out.
Oh my
Eventually, we're going to get to that show, guys. I'm telling you.
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Now, my company also did the whole like, we're gonna come back sometime, but they acknowledge that it's not gonna be the same. Like they've been talking about, we're gonna have to rearrange desks so that we're farther apart. And then the idea of like we won't be coming in 5 days a week, like the possibility of that's not realistic anymore. Like we've learned how to do work from home, so we have to figure out that balance again. And that was really hard to swallow because somebody who's new at the company, like I want that 5 days a week again.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. For sure.
I suppose it's extra interesting for you. You haven't even been really there. Like, that's just so crazy.
I know. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. What about you, Carrie? Where were you, or what happened to you when you first knew about the safer at home order?
Same kind of deal. Suddenly work was like, okay, pack up all your stuff. We're not coming back next week. It's going to be 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, okay. And I believe I just grabbed my laptop and that was it. I'm like, okay, I can use just my laptop for 2 weeks. But I think after a week, I went back in and got all the stuff, like the other monitor and all the things. And so, and then at the same time, school closed. So suddenly it was just like, in a matter of a couple days, I was suddenly just at home with my kids every day, all day. And that was like, whoa, like head spinning around, like what is happening and what am I supposed to do here? It was a big change.
Well, and Nicole, didn't you have a moment or like a minute where you were considering being a stay-at-home mom?
I was. Yes. So being that I was homeschooled, like my mom was that stay-at-home mom, I lived it. I really wanted a career that did that, like graphic design. You can work from home. You can do that. But then, for instance, this last week, we had a COVID scare. We had contact with somebody who was confirmed case. So we went into quarantine mode and I was that stay-at-home mom. Yes, I worked too, but having to deal with my kid and doing work, like homework with her, I don't know how people do it. Like, I understand that virtual schooling is in itself hard, but trying to figure out how to calmly tell a kid, like, sit still, learn, do the project, don't be goofy, when that's what they do. They're 4 years old. They're goofy. Like, that's what they do. So I've learned that my patience level is very low at the moment. I don't know if I would handle stay-at-home mom very well.
I have full on, like, last week. Okay, so the other thing is, on Tuesday of this week, River, our dog, got spayed. She got her dew claw clipped. She got vaccinated, and then she got her nails trimmed. Right?
Oh, so big day.
Rough day on Tuesday. Right?
Yeah.
And they want us for 2 weeks to keep her from doing too much strenuous activity. Like, we can't even take her for an official walk. You can only take her out to go potty. And she's not supposed to get overly excited. Well, we have a 2 and a 4-year-old.
Whoa.
So it has been so intense just to not let them rile each other up, because she could, like, rip her stitches or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, Nova's like, well, I just want to hug her so she feels better. And she, like, lays on her, and I'm like, well, you're not hugging her, you're like putting all of your body weight on this little, like, 5-month-old puppy that's much smaller than you are. And anyway, where was I going with this? I had a point to this story.
Stay-at-home moms.
Oh, yes. So there have been a couple times where I have just like full on like screamed at my kids in a way that I was like, I would never scream in that way. Like I feel like even when I get frustrated, I feel like I don't lose my temper to that degree, right? But like so much so that I was like shaking, right? Like there's like a level of just like losing my temper where it's like I just have to walk out the room because like I'm so much beyond what is appropriate for me to be in this situation. And it's like I knew I was totally overreacting, but it's just like y'all just need to calm the fuck down, all three of you. Like, why won't you just calm down? And like it just got to the point where I like literally have to be like, go into another room. I'm sure that they'll be fine, but I just need to calm down enough that I'm not going to lose my temper in that way. Like there's been a couple times that I've just been like, what is the deal? I don't even get angry like this, you know?
Yeah.
That's just lots of things compounding onto each other. That's just, and you don't realize it till it's too late and you're scaring your children. And I've been there so many times.
Yes. I have
you can feel yourself going like off the rails, but you can't like rein it back in. Yes. You're like, okay, I need to walk away.
Yeah, like I had to come back in and like apologize to Nova. Like, I'm sorry. The way that I reacted was completely inappropriate. I should not, like, my reaction was way over, like, inappropriate to the situation.
Yeah, I've definitely had to do my apologies for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I have too. I think what's really funny is, so I'm in this like church group where we get together and we do our prayer requests and whatever. My prayer request for 2 weeks ago was I need more patience. And like I don't I'm fast to react with my kids. Like when they get to a certain level, I'm like, yeah, and start yelling. And what's really funny is that was on a Tuesday. On Thursday, we found out that we were exposed to COVID. So then we were all in a house for 10 days. And I feel like I jinxed myself. Like, when you're like, this has been so quiet. This is great. And I like, boom, it's madhouse. Like, I requested prayer requests for patience and then shit happens.
So my mom used to have a joke. She says, never pray for patience because God will always test you on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And he's right. That's what happened.
Yes, I think so too.
That's funny.
Oh, and what's really scary is with kids especially, you lose your patience and then you start reacting and then you watch like this whole week. I've lost my patience, and then I've watched my oldest kid also lose her patience.
Oh, yeah.
And react the same way that I react, but I do not accept that. Like, I call her out on it, and I'm like, this is kind of bullshit because I do the same thing.
Yeah. But that's why you have to apologize.
I know. Yes.
Isn't that the worst, though? Like, when you see them doing something and they're just mimicking something you do, and, like, it's like looking in a mirror and you're just like, oh, I can't believe I did that,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that was so fun. So fun.
Can I say, I think one thing that 2020 has brought me, and this is crazy to me because I've never been a very patient person, especially with my kids. I think that I have gotten more patient with them being around more. And I think it's just because of like practice, like kind of getting used to just the chaos of it.
Yes.
I don't like that. I don't like the noise. I don't like the chaos. It's really hard for me. And I think I've become a little more just immune to it because it's constant now.
Yes.
And so I've kind of developed a little bit of a more patient response.
Yeah.
So I feel kind of triumphant in that.
That's really, I feel like it's also too, you're getting to know your kids on such a closer level than you have before too. Like you can tell when your kid is going to start to explode or like
definitely
you can tell, and then you can either excuse yourself and be like, you do that over there, I'm going to go over here, we'll talk after.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually that's so true because like I feel like my mom or whoever, one of the few people in our bubble will point out something that one of our kids is doing. And I'm like, oh, well, they're doing that because of this other thing, obviously. And they're like, what do you mean, obviously? And I'm like, well, of course. And it's like, Carrie, to your point, it's like, I think I only notice that because I see so much more of my kids now that like I notice those like minute things, and maybe things that would have been happen for the first time at daycare are actually happening for the first time here, because like I remember last year hearing about firsts from my daycare provider, and like that was hard, but like you also figure that's part of the reality, right? They're spending a lot of time at daycare. But now it's like there was several times that I said something to our daycare provider and I was like, oh yeah, they did whatever. And they're like, oh, I haven't seen them do that yet. And I just remember feeling like, oh, I saw that first.
Got that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I know my kids really well now. As opposed to before, I'd be like, I wonder what they're like all day at school,
Yeah.
Now I kind of know what they're like.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Do you also think they're little shits? Because I think my kids are little shits.
Definitely little shits.
Like, that's one thing I've learned of, like, I'm giving my daycare provider more presents this year and more thanks because, like, holy crap, the shit she has to deal with.
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, just watching the teachers on virtual schooling, I'm just,
oh my goodness,
how are you doing this without just slamming your laptop closed and walking away forever? Because I couldn't last one day, not one day.
Do you know what Nova did the other day? And this actually, okay, so somebody posted on our questionnaire of like, what topic should we cover? They said the things when your kids do something naughty and you have to walk away because you're laughing. Okay, so this was one of those. So we made Nova burritos. And like I've mentioned a couple times, she's been very like refusing to eat. And it's not even like the types of food, because I will make food I know that she likes. She's just refusing to eat. And so burritos were one of those things. Like she's so many times like if Daniel's eating a burrito or I'm eating a burrito, she gets so excited about it. She wants to eat one. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make burritos because she hasn't really been eating. This would be a good way to get her to eat because she loves them. She gets excited about it. Well, she didn't want to eat it. And I made a bean and corn salad, right? Like, okay, who doesn't love corn, right? Like it was delicious. Anyway. Yeah. And I was like, it was one of those meals where I was like, this is a no-fail meal. Everyone's going to like it. Everyone's going to eat it. And, of course, that's not what happened. But anyway, so she was eating it and I was excited. I was like, oh, I'm glad that you like it. Good job eating it. I've been worried because you haven't been eating, whatever. And it's important to eat something because you want to make sure that your body stays healthy, right? Anyway, so she goes, okay, well, I'm going to have another bite, but mommy, don't look at me. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Make sure you keep looking that way and don't look at me, and I'll tell you when I'm done eating. I was like, okay.
Oh, no.
So Daniel and I across the table, like, caught eyes. And so I was like, okay, I won't look. Of course, I was looking out at the corner of my eye. So she gets a scoop of her food. And when she thinks I'm not looking, she slowly moves it down below the table.
No way!
Plop! She throws it on the floor for the dog to eat.
Was she doing that the whole time?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
So I don't even know if she ever ate it. But then she's like, look, mommy, I had another bite.
What
and
a
I was
turd.
like,
oh, no.
So it was like, no, you didn't. And she's like, but you weren't looking at me. And I was like, I saw you give that food to the dog. And I have never seen Daniel get up from the table so fast. He got up so fast. He walked into the other room because he didn't want Nova to see how hard he was laughing.
Oh, no.
So he like went into the living room so she couldn't see until he like got himself back together and then came back and he's like, you know that face you make when you're trying not
yeah,
but you're being stern? He's like, Nova, you can't give your food to the dog. And then lie to us and tell us you ate it.
Oh my gosh. What
Yikes.
a turd.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that's totally happened in our house. And my excuse is like, I'm your mom. I know everything.
That's good.
That's probably going to screw her up later because lately she's been asking, like, Mom, but how do you know? I'm like, because I'm your mom. So I know.
That's good. I think I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Do it.
I think I like how kids think they're being slick and they
I
are
know.
not
Oh
slick.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, right? Oh, gosh.
If you close your eyes, can you not see what I'm doing?
I've been doing the, teacher role for Mally, and they have every Tuesdays and Thursdays, they get like 15 minutes to see their teacher and all the virtual kids in the class. So for 15 minutes, Mally goes on the computer, sees her teacher, they read her a book, but that poor teacher has to try and read the book, but then also all the kids are not muted. So they are chiming in. And Mally decides that this is the perfect time to explain that yesterday, Daddy and Mally shoveled the driveway, and Dad accidentally turned around too fast, and Mally was right there, and so nicked Mally right in the nose with the shovel.
No.
But the way Mally was explaining it was, Miss Caitlin, that was her teacher. She's like, Miss Caitlin, my daddy didn't know I was behind him, hit me with the shovel when we were and it bled all over, and I cried, and I put a Band-Aid on it, and I'm thinking stop, while she was saying this, I'm like, shh, oh my gosh, we're gonna get Child Protective Services on us saying, oh, my teacher, oh my gosh.
My 10-year-old is super, I can overhear what she's talking about, and she's super chatty and talkative in her classes, and I'm always like, stop talking, stop telling everyone everything. I can't think of an example right now, but I'm always kind of like, ugh, quit it.
It scares me for
Awkward.
when they're actually, in school and we can't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And, those poor teachers that get all of the stories, they
all the info.
Do you want to hear a time that I almost got my mom in trouble?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we were at the doctor's office, and I don't even remember what started this conversation, but I remember sitting there telling my doctor that my mom gets nosebleeds and she sniffs a lot and she likes to go to the bathroom, and I can hear her sniffing in the bathroom. And what my mom said is I clearly made it sound like she had a coke problem.
Oh,
and the doctor ended up questioning her separately.
Oh no.
What ended up happening is she had a deviated septum that she later had to get surgery on. And so it was just, she had a lot of nasal issues. But as a kid, I don't know. And so I presented this information in such a sketchy way that the doctor was like,
but it's also kids not knowing what's interesting conversation or not. No one cares your mom is sniffing, and you're like,
right,
my mom sniffs a lot,
everyone needs to know.
Yeah.
Weird.
Hey, did I tell you that time my mom sniffs a lot? She goes to the bathroom. I mean, for all I know, my mom was taking a crap, right?
Right.
Okay, you don't need to tell everybody about it.
Oh my gosh.
Kids, man.
Oh, geez. Oh, all right. Well, thinking about getting back to topic, thinking about 2021. I know, Danny, you said you're not really into thinking about years as a whole. What are you hoping to get out of this next year?
I mean, I think one of the hardest things that happened in 2020 is that we weren't able to see Daniel's family, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's hands down probably the hardest thing, and our friends that live in New York. So I think the biggest hope for 2021 is that we can see them.
Yeah, that works. And actually travel again.
Yeah, travel would be nice. I mean, right now we're setting the bar low. We just want to see family, right? If we could do more, great.
Right.
But let's just see family.
Yeah. What about you, Carrie?
Yeah, setting the bar low is what it's all about. Like, I just want to be able to like go visit my mom and dad without, worrying about it. And I would love for my kids to play with a friend without having to stress about who got exposed and who needs to quarantine. Just the basic socialization is what I'm missing.
Actually, and yeah, you made me think about, and Nicole, I bet you're probably in the same boat, is next year is supposed to be Nova's first year in kindergarten. I'm just hoping school's like, she can go to school,
Yeah. Yep.
Like, just very low bar here.
Right.
See family, have her go to kindergarten. That's it.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys? So I completely cried my eyes out the beginning of the week because I started watching my kid. They did this whole like live Facebook Live event and I was totally unprepared. The directions said they sent home cookies, right? And they were like, decorate the cookies. They're gingerbread cookies. And then we'll do a Facebook Live and we'll all decorate together and then the gingerbreads will run away. Like it was this magical moment. So I was like, great. I had the cookies out for her. I got the computer up. I have it all ready. She hasn't decorated them yet, but she's kind of nibbled on the candies a little bit. And then I get to the Facebook Live and they go to just running around the school. A camera's just following them like, oh, the cookies escaped. So you had to find them. And they're running around the school. And I cried my eyes out because I'm looking at my daughter and she's watching school run around the house while her cookie's just sitting there like, wait, we missed a step. Like, I felt like such a shit mom because I didn't read the directions correctly and my heart just went out to her. So I agree. I hope that next year she can participate and go to kindergarten and experience school. Like, she loves school. I want to make sure she continues to love it.
Just so you know, every parent has had that same experience, and I had one like a month ago. Not even that. It was like a few weeks ago where I didn't read the directions right, and it didn't turn out great, and I also cried. So
yeah,
it happens. On behalf of my daughter, like I screwed up. So
right. I don't.
Yeah. No, it's the worst.
So yes, I am excited for when we can go into stores again and like not worry. And then, yeah, just seeing family. I want to see my family and not have that awkward conversation of like, where were you? Are you being safe? If we see you, what will we be exposed to? Because we have different, expressions. No, we have different ideas of what safety is in my family. So I don't want to have those awkward conversations.
Yeah. I hope 2021 is a little less divisive. Just generally speaking. I feel like I've gotten in more fights with people this year who I would never fight with about like misinformation or like you're saying, ideas of what's safe, and it's just like, it's just really stressful because it's like, I don't want to be fighting with you, And so I'm just like hoping next year, maybe there's less to fight about.
We all just got to chill out next year.
Yeah, right? Everything feels so intense and so important. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So it's I feel like things I would maybe never care about or have an opinion on, like I have an opinion because I feel like I have to have an opinion because like my family's health and safety is on the line. So it's like,
Yeah. Yep.
It's like you're
100%.
forced to have an opinion. You're forced to like put that opinion in the sand. If you don't, you're a shit person and everyone you know has COVID.
Yeah. You walk out the door, you have COVID.
Right. So it's like
oh my gosh. Yes. I think that's very true. All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. What happened to you in 2020? What the hell just happened? And what you guys are looking forward to in 2021. We would love to hear from you. We have a Gmail that you can write to us at womenafpodcast @gmail.com. We have a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can all find us with Women AF Podcast. And we have a website that kind of hubs all of it at womenafpodcast.com. And if you like us and if you think that we're, some form of entertainment that you enjoy, we would love for you to support us by writing a review and also being a Patreon member. That you can find more information at No, wait, you can't do that. At patreon.com/womenafpodcast. Well, we are Women AF and we hope... Nope. That's wrong. We are Women AF, and we know you are too.
Women AF is produced by Mortar Media and engineered by Adam Rostad. Intro and outro music is SQZ by Shane Ivers. Check him out at silvermansound.com. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.